Welcome back to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. I'm your host, Tiffany Deku. Here we talk about all the food happenings around Acadiana. If you like food, tune in. You might learn something new. It is the last Lafayette Food Junkie episode of 2018. We are barreling into 2019. It's the eve of the eve again.
It is.
We had 2 eves of the eves.
Fancy.
This go around. Yeah, I don't feel like I'm dying like I did last episode. So
yeah.
An improvement. We survived Christmas.
Barely.
We had our Feast of the Seven Cheeses party and not even 4 cheeses. 4 cheeses did not make it on the table.
Nope, there were plenty of cheeses on the table.
There were plenty of cheeses. I went way too overboard.
Yes, you did.
And if you guys follow along at home on the Lafayette Food Junkie Instagram, you saw that our first course was the main course. It was the star of the party, and it was 3 cheese boards, and they were beautiful, and I got a lot of comments on them, and I will hold on to my title of like beautiful cheese platter decorator.
I see no contenders.
Yeah. And then what were the other things that we made? Okay, you didn't like the cheese ball that I made.
No, not really.
Yeah, my family loved it. I brought it to them in North Louisiana this weekend, and they ate it up. So that's a you thing. I made the peppermint cheesecake.
Oh my God.
The recipe that was from Delish.
Yeah.
If you've ever wondered how those recipes are, some of them are good. And it was good, but the ganache on top was a lot.
It was, but it was also really beautiful.
We also almost had a moment where I dropped it when I was going to put it into the fridge. I was looking at you and I was like, I created this beautiful cheesecake, and you were like, I know it's so beautiful, and then it slid back on me,
like immediate comedic timing,
right? And there was like, I got ganache all over me, but the cake was intact, so it was wonderful. And the fried things that I spent so much time prepping didn't get done for the party. We did do them for Christmas Day. The fried macaroni and cheese balls, which weren't as cheesy as I wanted.
Yeah.
But you loved the egg rolls. They were pepper jack, macaroni and cheese egg rolls.
Absolutely.
And you were a super fan of it.
And we had that Zia's sauce.
Yes.
Sweet chili.
Yes. And it was perfect with it. But then I also decided that wasn't enough and baked a ham for Christmas and went too heavy with the clove.
Yeah.
So you weren't a fan.
It's good.
We're gonna take the ham and we're gonna morph it into some Asian dishes, and then you'll like it. You keep saying you felt like you were eating pho.
Yeah.
So some wins and some losses.
Yeah.
For the Christmas day, we have like 2 more days of gluttonous eating.
Yeah.
And then we're going into New Year's Day. And do you have any diet resolutions for the new year?
More yoga, apparently.
Yeah.
My son is here doing
yoga right now.
And I don't know, probably less gluten.
Yeah, you're on a no gluten kick right now because your body basically said shut it down.
It kill me.
Yeah. I think going into the new year, I'm going to have way more veggie-based dishes. I think that's what I'm going to strive to do. And I'm going to, goal-wise, try to only eat meat like 2 or 3 days a week.
That's cool.
So are you with me with that? Because you're going to get lumped into that.
No, I'm totally down with eating less meat.
You're down with it, yeah. All right, joining us tonight as guest co-host is Mandy Broussard. She is a contributor for Lafayette Mom's blog. She also has her own blog called Everyday Cajun with the Cajun Queen, and she's also a licensed social worker. God, I got so tongue-tied with that, which we're going to totally geek out on, and we did geek out a little bit before the show. And welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tiffany. I'm so excited to be here.
So how was your Christmas?
Oh, where do I start? It was exhausting. I mean, all the way since Thanksgiving, it's just been nonstop. I cook a gumbo every year, no shortcuts, which is kind of a big undertaking in and of itself.
Right.
Had my family over one day, and then my husband's family and the kids, and it was wonderful. We didn't have 7 cheeses, which I'm upset about, but maybe next year. But it was good. It was full of love and happiness, but just super exhausting.
So did you do a seafood gumbo or did you do a chicken and sausage?
Chicken and sausage.
Okay, because my ex-husband's family in South Louisiana, it's a lot of chicken and sausage gumbo, but for Christmas, they would always do a seafood gumbo because that was like the special occasion gumbo.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I remember my dad considered seafood gumbo to be a special occasion gumbo, and especially oysters and crab and shrimp and things that we don't eat on a regular basis are awesome to put in a gumbo for Christmas time. But I did the chicken and sausage. I tried something new that a friend taught me, to get a hen, and I kind of got everything together, and I used fresh sausage, smoked sausage. I did something different this time.
And did it turn out well?
It did turn out really well. I have a really specific way that I make my gumbo each year or anytime that I make it, and I kind of went rogue this year, and it actually worked out better than I thought it would. Everybody loved it.
Now, are you a potato salad with the gumbo?
Oh, yes. You gotta.
I'm a new one to that.
You're new. Okay.
I used to never do it, and recently I like the potato salad.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, my dad's family is from Thibodaux, and that's a big thing that they always did out there. They always put potato salad in their gumbo. And, this year my sister-in-law's mom was in town. She's from Chicago originally, lived in San Antonio, and recently moved to Baton Rouge. And we kind of taught her how to put her potato salad in the gumbo. And
did she freak out a little bit?
No, she had done it before, but she just was like, "Can you show me how I do this again?" And I said, "It's not. Don't stress out. Just put it in." And she did it. She was a champ, and she loved it. But it's fun to teach people from other places how we do things down here.
So Christmas Eve is tomorrow. New Year's Eve. I'm still stuck in Christmas.
What day is it?
I don't know. I really don't know what
Where
day it
am
is.
I?
Yeah, that's
Not
actually.
sure.
I drove in from Shreveport today, so I'm like, what day is it?
What are we doing?
So, I'm at the age where I don't want to go out anymore. I don't want to like a huge party for New Year's Eve, especially because we did something big for Christmas. So Bob and I are doing Chinese takeout, and we're watching horror movies.
Yay!
For New Year's Eve. Not Bird Box though, because he did it without me. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah. What are we watching? We're watching that tonight though. The Black Box.
The Black Mirror.
Black Mirror. Everything's a box.
Yeah. That's okay.
So what are you guys doing for New Year's?
For New Year's Eve, same. Like, we don't really want to go out and do anything crazy. In the past, we've done, we like to go see the Revivalists. It's a band that we love. They play in New Orleans every year. We did that 2 years ago. Last year, we went to Toledo Bend. And this year, I'm looking forward to kind of like you, just chilling out at home, getting some takeout, watching a good movie, hopefully going to bed early. That whole thing.
Yeah.
We got to stay up till midnight. We're normally in bed for like 9.
Yeah.
We're like so old.
I'll probably try to stay up till midnight with some champagne or something.
That's what we have planned. Yeah. I have 2 bottles already picked out.
I think your New Year's Eve sounds perfect.
For tomorrow. So I'm super excited for that. Now, do you have any New Year's food resolutions that you're going to be partaking in?
Yeah. So my husband and I, whenever we like to kind of stick to a keto kind of based lifestyle, I mean, we definitely have fallen off the wagon here lately with all the holidays. Holidays. But yeah, when I'm doing really well, I try to follow like a high fat, low carb diet. That's when I feel my best. And so I'll probably be jumping back there. And, I always try to do a dry January with no alcohol.
That's very smart.
It is. It's super depressing, but it's one of those things that my body needs that restart. So I think I'm going to be doing that too.
All right. We are going to take our first break. And when we come back, we have more with Mandy. So come back to us. It is the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPL.
Follow Tiffany on Instagram. Just search the Lafayette Food Junkie.
What happened? You used to go, ow.
Welcome back to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPL. I'm your host, Tiffany Deku, joined as always by Bob Burrell, and Mandy Broussard is joining tonight as guest co-host. I want to give a quick shout out to my parents. I got to see them this weekend. I drove up to Shreveport to my grandmother's house, and I haven't got to see them in a year because they've been on a job in Pennsylvania. But they drove down, and they are hopefully listening tonight in Kentucky. Yeah. They've stopped for the night.
Wow,
so yeah.
Already.
They are hopefully listening. So I gave them a shout out because they always ask me to give them shout outs, and I never do it. So my number one fans, I need to let them know. Okay. Waiter put out a list this week of their top 10. It was food items. It was top 10 food items that was ordered through the platform. Yeah. And what I wanted to focus on more was the restaurants that were picked, because that's what was interesting to me.
Yeah, there's in the top, it's a top 20 And like in that, there's a couple restaurants that show up a couple
Yeah,
times.
so that's really what was more interesting to me
Mhm.
as opposed to what was ordered. Although that is a little interesting as well. But Chick-fil-A, man, was the number one.
Yeah.
And what was confusing to me about that is if so many people, so Chick-fil-A is so popular that not only are they blocking traffic on Ambassador Caffrey, but people are also ordering through Waiter. Like
Yeah.
they're getting it both ways. So that was what was so shocking to me. And then also it's crazy for me that a fast food restaurant is on there when they already have a drive-through and make it ridiculously easy for you to order. Like how much do you want Chick-fil-A to have it brought to your house?
Listen, I love Chick-fil-A. I do. The chicken nuggets are good. I like bringing my kids there. But when I think about Waiter, I think about local businesses. That's just what comes to my mind. And so a fast food restaurant being number one, it's surprising to me. Like you said, there's a drive-through.
That's crazy. It's crazy, and I see like I get why it's so popular. It's kid friendly.
Yeah.
They have a play area, which most fast food places now they don't have that. So I see why that's popular. And I mean, it's chicken, so it's a little healthier. And I mean, it tastes good. Like those nuggets are great. But I don't, it's not something that I crave. And I guess it's because I work in the mall. You know, Chick-fil-A is one of the places that I eat at on a weekly basis. And I did talk about this on Friday's show that they have the app now that I love because even in the mall, the lines get really crazy. And now with that app, I just place my order ahead of time and I go and I pick it up right away. And it's super fast and easy. And you can do that in any of the Chick-fil-A locations as well. But I don't understand why it's so insanely popular here in Acadiana.
Like, is it this popular like through the rest of the nation?
That's what I'm curious about. Like I really want to look at the business statistics and see. And granted, Chick-fil-A is not nationwide. I believe it's only in the South. I don't know that for a fact. So don't hold me to that. But I'm thinking that it's regional. It's not across the board,
We need to
across
find
the
some Chick-fil-A stats.
We need some Chick-fil-A stats. I mean, like I said, it's good, but it's just not what I want delivered to my house. I don't think. I mean, like y'all are getting Chinese takeout tomorrow night. That's something that I would probably want delivered to my house. Chick-fil-A, that's surprising.
So the second most popular restaurant was Buffalo Wild Wings. And I do know for a fact that our Buffalo Wild Wings does incredibly well for the market, and it is out of the national market. Like ours is one of the top. At one time, I believe it was the top 5 grossing Buffalo Wild Wings in the nation. Yeah, so I get that. And we don't really have a lot of other wing places
options,
that they've had some that have come and gone, but Buffalo Wild Wings remains incredibly popular. Bob does not really like wings, and I'm upset about that because I am a huge wing fan. And
I like the wings from the Albertsons Hot Bar.
Okay, and I like those too, but I like the garlic parmesan Buffalo Wild.
And wing fingers.
Wing fingers is
wing
amazing.
Fingers is so
Yes.
good.
They have such a good chicken
We're pretty
sandwich.
obsessed with wing fingers. And I think Wingstop is underrated.
Wingstop is, but I only like certain things from there. Like Buffalo Wild Wings, they have wraps that I like there. I like the garlic parmesan. Like it's more options, I guess. Wing Fingers is also really good though, and I completely forgot about them.
Yeah,
but
and they're local. We like to keep it local.
So they're great. But Wingstop has good specials, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with fries and cheese sauce that you can get to dip into it.
If it doesn't have liquid cheese, I don't want to be a part of it. And for us, Buffalo Wild Wings, we like to go there and have a couple of beers, watch a football game. It's kind of about the environment and the experience for us. So if I were to order some wings to my house, it would probably be from a place like Wingstop where, they have fountain drinks and things like that. And so, that's just my take on it. But again, I think that's cool that that's the second most popular waiter
so
stop in town.
3 times in the top 10.
Right.
Goodness.
So then the other options were pizza, which you would expect.
Yeah.
But it was from Pizza Artista, Pizza Village, Dino's, and Alici's, which was surprising to me, but I'm super excited about because I feel like not enough people likes Alici's pizza. I love Alici's pizza. It's very old school, and I turned you on to them.
Yeah.
And, you know, we like them. And it was the build your own pizza that was the most popular there, and that's what we like to do from there. Have you had Alici's before?
I have. You know, yes, it's kind of an older traditional. It's a Lafayette tradition, and so I'm with you. I like that people are ordering that a lot. I think that that's cool. Yeah.
So, and then 2 sushi restaurants. I would expect sushi to be popular.
Yep.
It was Tao and Tsunami, which is not surprising to me. And then the last restaurant that made the list was Walk-Ons.
Oh.
And it was their spinach and artichoke dip was what made the list for that. I don't really eat at Walk-Ons a whole lot, but I don't also not on that side of town, so that's kind of why.
Yeah, we like Walk-Ons. I mean, they've got like, you know, a variety. So you can definitely be ordering waiter with a bunch of people and have a pretty big variety and get wraps, burgers, salads, artichoke dip, you know, so I could see why that would be popular.
You were saying that when you were in New Orleans, you guys you and your friends ordered from a bunch of different waiter restaurants, and you kind of had like a party buffet from the various restaurants.
We did. You know, we were going to the Beyonce concert, and it was after work, and we were trying to get there in time, and we usually like to go to dinner, but we didn't have time for dinner, so we kind of waited a couple of different things and had a waiter buffet, and it was awesome. Like, I think
brilliant.
It was. We got to take our time getting dressed. You know, we got to have some drinks in our condo. It was super fun, and the places that they have to get waitered in New Orleans are just the possibilities are endless over there. You know, it was really hard to pick. But
so going into 2019, I know that they've had a couple of more food delivery services pop up here in Lafayette. Do you think that they're going to even stand a chance to the monster that Waiter has become?
I don't think so, personally. I mean, you know, they just became publicly traded. They are growing at a rapid pace. I have a friend of mine who is their marketing director, and to me, their branding and their service, I was in Thibodaux this past weekend, which is a small town, and they have waiter people in and out of those restaurants. Their branding and the way that they've done things is kind of, they've really kind of been the gold standard for this whole thing. So I don't know that other people will be able to keep up. It's
amazing to me that other cities have other food delivery services and they've done relatively well. But in the Acadiana market, Waiter has kind of took over. And I remember when I went to Birmingham a couple of years ago, Waiter was there, and it kind of just threw me aback that I didn't even know at that point that they were out of the state. And they're out of the state, and now it's going on. They're going to take over the nation.
Yeah, I don't think anybody could touch Waiter unless if they started delivering alcohol.
Well, Waiter has been working on that, though. That's something that they've been working on for several years now. And I mean, with the grocery delivery options that are now becoming popular in town, alcohol was one of the things they thought that was going to be their way in to be able to get alcohol delivered. But I know that is something that they have wanted to do. Yeah. And I think if any delivery service is going to do that, Waiter's going to figure out a way to do that.
Yeah.
If they can find a way, that I think Waiter will be able to do it. And, I think that those restrictions will probably be less in Louisiana. Obviously, drive-through daiquiris and whatnot. But I agree with you. If they can start figuring out a way to deliver alcohol, they're going to be just fine.
I wonder how they're going to get around that that you're delivering and there's not minors there, or it's not like if a minor is using like their parents' account, like how that. And I think that's been the whole issue of how they haven't been able to get past it, is like all the legal issues that come with it. But it'll be interesting to see if they can get around it.
I would guess just card whoever gets the food.
Yeah. Whoever they deliver to.
Whoever you hand it
So then
to.
does the waiter, driver, then are they kind of like a bartender and then they have to get a bar card?
Yep.
So then does that then, fall on the responsibility of the waiter driver?
PIs have to get PI licenses.
Yeah, it's true. Interesting. All right, we're going to take another break, and we're going to be talking food trends for 2018 and what we think is going to be food trends in 2019. So come back to us. It is the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KBEL.
Go along on all of Tiffany's food adventures. Like the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on Facebook.
Welcome back to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. I'm your host, Tiffany Deku, joined as always by Bob Burrell,
What?
who I feel like is going to reprimand his son at any moment.
He's being overall good.
Hey, he's been out of school for a week, and
Yeah.
he's probably pumped full of sugar right
Yeah.
now.
That's fair.
So I really feel like he's about to get in trouble on air.
Don't
like
encourage him.
it's going to happen. Joining tonight as guest co-host is Mandy Broussard. We've been talking about, we're kind of doing a wrap-up show of 2018. So let's talk about what we felt like were the food trends of 2018. And I'll go first. I feel like 2018 was the death of the plastic straw. And you kind of agreed with me a little bit on this. Like more and more places, especially out of state, like they don't even give you straws at
Yeah.
restaurants. Remember when we went to Houston? Like
Yeah.
none of them gave us straws.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like I got a metal straw now at home. I feel guilty every time I have a plastic straw. You made me feel incredibly guilty, and I did have a straw, but you made me feel incredibly guilty when we did our taco tour
Yeah,
in Shreveport.
because every time you took a straw, you were killing a baby turtle.
That's what you told me. And so now it radiates in my head.
Yeah.
So now I'm like over.
I mean, I don't know if the trend will stick, but this is definitely the year of it.
Yeah, it's big. It's big. I feel there's other like Starbucks. I feel like I don't never get any cold drinks at Starbucks. So I don't know if they're still serving plastic straws there or not. But I know Starbucks was
Yeah.
one of the big places that stopped doing
Mhm.
straws. Do you get cold?
No, I usually get a hot drink.
Yeah,
and
me
so I'm
too.
not sure. I'm not sure.
I did notice that they stopped putting that little plastic stopper
Oh, really?
like in
Oh.
my hot drink, because
Uh-huh.
you know how they would do
Uh-huh.
that to kind of cover the top so
Yeah.
you don't spill it on yourself and try to sue them.
Mhm.
Like now
Yeah.
they're like, if you don't know by now,
You're on
maybe
your
you
own.
shouldn't be drinking this.
Get it yourself.
So I did notice that, but I don't know if the ones here took the straws away or not.
I'm not sure. And then, I hear that people are substituting with like paper straws, and some people are just freaked out by that.
I am
Yeah.
not a fan of the paper straw.
No, that doesn't work.
I would rather not have a straw than
Yeah.
the paper straw
Yep.
because it falls apart. We went to the taco tequila dinner at Social, and some of the drinks had paper
Yeah.
straws.
Mm.
And
Reminds me too much of Gerald's Game,
what?
the horror movie.
Oh my God, we'll have to talk about that off air. Let's not do that on air. So I think the trend is going to continue, and I mean it
Mhm.
already is. Like we talked about on Friday's show, the thought of like plate lunch places, like in the styrofoam
Yeah.
containers, whether they would get on the bandwagon or not. And I do know that some places have been looking into biodegradable containers. They do exist. I feel like it's going to get so far. It's going to go so far as no paper napkins. Like it'll eventually.
I
get
think
to
so, but I
that.
think it'll take a while for it to come
Right.
here. I mean, South Louisiana is behind in a lot of different things, and especially I feel like a lot of people don't have a ton of awareness about all of that just yet. So I think the straws I'm with you. I think that was a huge breaking point in 2018, and I think that it's going to continue.
Like even
For
at
sure.
work, they used to buy us plastic silverware. Like they don't do that anymore. And I've gotten bamboo silverware to use, and I just have to, rewash it, and it's a little more
Yeah.
work, but I feel, better that I'm not throwing that away to just kind of sit there or
Yeah.
suffocate a baby turtle.
Right. We're here for the baby turtles.
We got to save the baby sea
We have
turtles.
to save them.
Yeah. I got my titanium spork that's on my bug out bag.
Oh my
can
God. A
use that.
spork is an underused utensil.
Right?
Nice.
I think Popeyes is the only
Bless
commender
them.
of the spork.
Bless them for that.
I feel like that's the only
You can't eat the red beans without it.
right, exactly.
Fair.
It's not the same.
What do you think were some trends for 2018?
And I just noticed this after we were just talking about it. The Instant Pot blew up last year
Yes.
for Christmas, and I just got one for Christmas this year. And I feel like that is, like when I got my Instant Pot, I was excited, and I got on some different Facebook groups, and
they're obsessed.
this is like a cult.
It is. It is so.
Um,
I feel like I'm in it.
Yeah, I'm in an Instant Pot cult now.
And I feel like the people, because I've been seeing this a lot lately, the new people that got something and they like, I cooked dinner. It's ruined.
Yes.
I hate it. There's 200 comments
Yes.
of like people telling them you did natural release.
Mhm.
Like you did natural release.
Lots of finger pointing in these
Yes.
Instant Pot communities.
It is.
For
it's
sure. And then I
scary.
find it makes me laugh because a lot of these people are terrified of their Instant Pots.
Yes.
Like they don't want to go near
They're like,
it.
I got it 3 months ago and it's still in the box.
It's still there's so many buttons. What am I going to do? And I'm just like, and you could probably follow the instructions and you're going to be okay. But yeah, I mean, so like these communities growing with the Instant Pot, I cooked my first thing with mine today and it took like 20 minutes. It's pretty cool. And so I think that was a big trend of last year that I'm kind of getting on late.
I'm wondering what the next big home appliance.
The air fryer.
The air fryer took off this year too.
Yep. So, I mean,
I feel like
what's
it's
next?
the year of Instapot and air fryer.
What's next? Do you know what are they going to do?
don't
Come up
know.
with next?
I don't know. Food that cooks itself.
Oh my God, Alexa,
Sweet.
cook my
yeah,
spaghetti.
Alexa. It's going to be an Alexa that cooks food for
Oh
you.
yeah, like the
Oh.
microwave from The Fifth Element.
It's going to be
Nice, yeah.
What is it? What was the maid on the Jetsons?
Oh my
Rosie?
God.
Rosie. They're going to be Rosie.
Yes. And her name is going to be
Robot.
Alexa, and she's going to prepare all of our food for us, and we're going to be non-straw, non-cooking people.
So I feel like in 2018, ramen finally came
No doubt.
to Acadiana. That was one of the things that people cried out for,
Mhm.
having tried it out in other cities, especially Houston. You know, it's very
Mhm.
popular in Houston. So I felt like we had a couple of ramen places open up. There's some more that are slanted to be open.
Mhm.
I haven't gotten to check them out yet. You can even get ramen at Rouse's.
Yeah.
Like that's how.
The whole idea, and I see a lot of pictures of them on Instagram with the egg and the cool, oils and vegetables and things that you can add to the ramen. That's been super popular. It took a little while longer to get here, which surprised me because I feel like Lafayette's pretty progressive. But
We are, as far as trend goes, we're always like a year or two behind.
Yeah.
I've noticed.
yeah, and I remember a couple of years ago it was pho, and since then pho has been super popular and has been a staple. So I think ramen's probably making its way here, and I'm excited for it. I love it.
And Korean barbecue,
Yeah,
as
oh, yeah.
well. We got Sunny's, and then a
How was
couple of
it?
other places. No, I haven't been there yet. But
yeah.
we like Lafayette got Sunny's,
Yeah.
and they have Korean barbecue. A couple of the other places have popped up that are serving Korean barbecue as well. So I feel like that those are two things that finally came to Acadiana: ramen and Korean barbecue.
Yeah.
So going into 2019, let's talk about some of the food trends that we think are going to be happening. So I felt like 2019 was going to be the year of CBD oil, drinks and food products, and
Yeah.
also as more states begin to legalize marijuana, there's going to be way more edible recipes floating out. There are already some in the places where it is legal, floating around on the internet. So I feel like that's going to become more of a trend going into 2019.
CBD daiquiri.
Yeah, Bob's already on it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I use Young Living oils, for example, and they're coming out with a CBD product in January.
Oh, cool.
It's becoming. I think I could see that being a thing, and absolutely, as we get closer to kind of legalizing marijuana all over the country, I don't know when or if it'll happen here, but I could see some of that evolving in 2019 for sure.
So, what are some of the trends that you guys think are going to happen in 2019?
I know that we have a food hall in Baton Rouge, but I think food halls might be coming around.
To Lafayette?
Maybe.
I would love one.
What is
food
that?
hall. That's White.
Like White Star.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
It's
Yes.
like a fancy food court.
It's like a fancy food court.
Yeah.
Like White Star Market in Baton Rouge, which again, but going back to ramen, had the best ramen that I've ever had. That would be fabulous, no doubt.
Yeah.
Something for everybody.
And two more.
Okay.
I have a sneaking suspicion that skinless boudin has become a thing.
You just made this up.
I totally just made
You
that
just
up.
made it up, and I feel like some chef out there, we're gonna see it like
It's
5 months
self-fulfilling
from now.
prophecy.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Right? And you know what else? Prairie Ron Rice.
Yes. Prairie Run
2019.
Rice is the year of Prairie Run Rice. That's a great shout out to sponsor of the Lafayette Food Junkie radio show. Good job there.
And if you're going to make some cabbage rolls, use Prairie Ron Rice.
Yeah, we were talking about that. Bob was like, we need to make cabbage rolls for New Year's. And he was like, we should use prairie ron rice. I was like, yes, you are.
Absolutely.
So what are some things that you think are going to...
It kind of, and you said this earlier, I think like more of a veggie-based diets I'm hearing more and more about. I have a friend of mine who recently started, eating all vegan, which I don't know. I was very surprised to hear that.
I can't do it.
I can't do it.
But I would like to predominantly do it.
But even if you don't go all vegan or whatever the case may be, I think that people are more and more conscious of what we're eating. And, our bodies, my body in particular after Christmas is begging for some vegetables. And so I think that, and there's really not a ton of vegan, vegetarian options, in South Louisiana, but I could see that maybe being a growth. I'm hearing more and more people talk about that.
So another trend that I think is going to become popular is virtual restaurants.
Oh.
Speaking of things like Waiter, it's a restaurant that only exists like in Waiter, for instance. So the menu's on there, and then you can't like go to the restaurant at all. Like the driver literally goes, picks up your food, and goes out. And I feel like that's going to be something that continues to be popular. I know other cities have those kind of things already. But I feel like that's going to be something. And I know that with Acadiana Food Hub, that's some of the things that they kind of work on with that group. But I think that might be something that might come to Acadiana next year.
No doubt. I mean, with social media and like we talked about with Waiter, everybody is just trying to communicate in a different way these days. It's not that face-to-face interaction that it always was. So I could see that coming up at some point.
I also think that Lafayette's going to get better Chinese options. We have Chopsticks that's going to be opening in 2019. It's supposed to be fine dining Chinese. So we'll have that. And then Blue Basil has been working on a dim sum menu. So hopefully that comes out next year and Lafayette finally gets dim sum, because that's been the other thing that people have kind of cried out for that they wanted in Lafayette. So I predict that those are going to be two things that come to town next year.
I sure hope so. I think, in Acadiana, there's so many people that can cook so many incredible things. But one thing that I personally cannot cook is good Chinese food, sushi, pho, ramen, so going out to places like that is so I love dim sum too.
I love that Acadiana has become so accepting of other cultures' food, because I remember a time when that was not the case. For instance, when Osaka opened up, it was originally a Korean restaurant called Seoul Ajana, but it was ahead of its time, and people were weirded out. They were kind of scared of it. So they switched to sushi because that's what was kind of booming in town at that time. And then now, like, the culinary climate in town has changed a lot. They slowly started to put the Korean items back on Osaka's menu, to now that they have a Korean menu available there. So I love that it's become so much more accepting to eat other cultures' foods here, when there was a time that was not the case.
And I think that's our generation probably. We love trying new things, and social media certainly hypes up.
Right. And food shows like Anthony Bourdain was very much of I feel like he
had a huge impact on I think everyone in the country, but especially foodies in the South, that we've been doing things a certain way when it comes to food for so long that it's exciting to watch him eat and try new things, and we kind of wanted a piece of that, so I think that's awesome that we're growing and progressing like that.
All right, we are going to take another break, and when we come back, we have more with Mandy. So come back to us. It is the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
Sunday nights mean the Lafayette Food Junkie Show, live in Acadiana. Brought to you by Prairie Rod Rice.
Family gatherings and good food are what Louisiana holiday celebrations are about.
Welcome back to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. I'm your host, Tiffany Daku, joined as always by Bob Burrell. And Mandy Broussard is joining tonight as guest co-host. Okay, we found out during the break, your husband did some research. There is a Chick-fil-A in every state but 3. So I was wrong. It is nationwide.
So everybody is just loving that chicken.
Everyone loves them some Chick-fil-A. Mandy, you come from a culinary background. Your father was a chef. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Definitely, yeah. My dad, his name is Johnny Jambalaya Perkle. Everybody called him Johnny Jambalaya. He unfortunately passed away in 2013, but he was a chef. He cooked He catered at the Sanger, so he cooked for a lot of celebrities there, the Rolling Stones, Blondie, all kinds of bands. And then he ended up going to work at Nottoway Plantation as the executive chef there. And I'm surprised in this area, the people that have never been to Nottoway Plantation, it's just so unbelievably beautiful. And when he was there, he brought a lot of big names there. He cooked on the Food Network with Bobby Flay. He was a good friend of Dr. John, the musician. He would go and perform there quite often. And so he did that for a long time. And then he also formulated what's called the Nottoway salad dressing, which is now called Johnny Jamбалая's herb dressing and marinade. We still sell it at Rouse's. It's a dressing, a marinade that we use on chicken, shrimp, pork, and steak, or on salads. And we still manufacture that today. So, yeah, I mean, I grew up watching him cook gumbo, and we grew up eating at all kinds of interesting places since I was a little girl. So it's kind of been a part of who I am since I was very, very young.
He also had a food radio show.
He did.
You were telling me about.
He did. And he was a character. I mean, anyone that knows him, and especially people who are listening now, are certainly laughing because his personality was larger than life. He had a radio show in Thibodaux where, like you, he would host guests around the area and just chat about Cajun lifestyle, and they would completely shoot the bull and get off topic. And the conversations were so awesome. And again, it's a lost art these days. We're social media'd out. We're doing all these things. And he just loved that person-to-person contact where they would talk about the nostalgia of stirring up a pot of white beans or that lost art of Cajun lifestyle. So
I was asking you if he had done any cooking videos, and you said
Right.
no, he did cooking CDs
Mhm.
where he explained how to cook different dishes set to music.
Yes. And it's so good. And he was a soulful guy. He loved music. And his big thing that he taught me ever since I was little was you need 3 things down here, and that's food, family, and music. And if you surround yourself with food, family, and music every day, there's no way that you can be unhappy or, you can't live in a struggle when you're surrounded by those 3 things. And that's what our culture is all about.
I would say that is an accurate description of
Yeah.
the culture here.
Yeah.
So having a dad as a chef, were you exposed to a lot of different foods as a kid that maybe like your friends would look at you like, oh, why are you eating that? But your dad's a chef, so you've tried it and you know it's really good.
Absolutely. I'd have friends over for sleepovers, and my mom would serve like stuffed artichokes. We were kids, and I'm just like digging into this stuffed artichoke, and my friends just didn't even know what to do with that. So we had to kind of simplify things, and we ordered pizza quite a bit. But yeah, definitely stuffed artichokes. My mom always made gourmet pizzas because my mom is also a great cook.
Oh, wow.
So we'd always have, the Cajun staples in the house, jambalaya and gumbo and things like that. But definitely we're always trying new, interesting things.
Did you get to join him a lot in the kitchen to cook with him?
I did, and especially towards the end of his life is when I didn't really get into cooking until I went to college. And then at that point, yes, we got to spend a lot of time together, but he wasn't the best instructor. He cooked from the heart, as I do. So, I would ask him, well, when is this going to be ready? And how long do I have to cook this for? And he said, well, until it looks right. I didn't know how to measure that.
Right.
And so once I learned how to measure that, we cooked much better in the kitchen, and we made some wonderful things together. Yeah.
That's so funny because I talked about this past weekend, like grandmothers that didn't write recipes down because they just knew it by memory. And it's hard to write a recipe down that you just know by heart, and you know all the movements and you know everything that goes into it. And the only way to actually really learn that recipe is to get in there in the kitchen with them and learn it that way.
For sure. And I mean, he would have music on, and it was all about the sights and the smells and the sounds of things. And that's what guided him in the kitchen. And so that's what I do now on my blog is I try to write all of it down because I think that it's our responsibility as Cajun people to keep these traditions going, because if these traditions die off, we're going to be lost. And so it's really hard for me to write down these recipes, especially because I don't have measuring cups at my house, really. Like I don't really know how to even measure a dash of salt or whatever, but I try because I want to make sure that it's passed down to generations after me.
So you are a licensed social worker, and I am going into my 2nd year of mental health counseling. And we kind of talked a little bit about this, about how we both have theories on the healing power of food and the therapeutic nature of cooking a meal for someone. I just kind of wanted to get your take on that.
I think that people are so scared to get in the kitchen sometimes, and they're so scared to mess up, or they don't know how to do the basics. And it's like, if you put that fear aside and you just try and you spend some time with a family member who enjoys cooking, or even just something as simple as watching the Food Network or the videos online, it's so simple. And once you put yourself into that environment, and you create something delicious and beautiful, something you can share with someone that you love, a friend who just had a baby, you can bring them something to eat, or it's a way to share love. And absolutely, that time in the kitchen creating that dish can absolutely be healing and therapeutic for someone. Especially, we're all suffering from a case of just the go, go, go. We're always on the go. And so to just stop and, immerse ourselves into this project in the kitchen, something we can share with people we love, it can be very healing for people, especially with mental illness. Absolutely.
I'm surprised that there has not been as much research on this, because that's one of the things that I've been doing in school now, is like trying to find, there's not a lot of research out there. There's starting to be. In fact, recently this past week, Huffington Post posted something. I've been seeing ones on baking, like how baking for other people is therapeutic. And it makes so much sense to me. And I just don't know why this has not been studied more. But I feel like that's something that's going to change. And especially as we try to find different forms of therapy, and if we get away from like a medicine model of treating clients, I feel like it's going to become more popular.
No doubt. I mean, I've done a lot of research on art therapy, and that's an evidence-based practice that most definitely helps with mental illness and anxiety. And making those kinds of assignments in the kitchen for clients to cook and create something absolutely would be beneficial. My dad actually suffered from anxiety and depression, and he always said that cooking was kind of his saving grace, because whenever we suffer from those things, we feel like we can't get anything right. But in the kitchen, he was able to create masterpieces that people absolutely loved. And so, no, I think it's an underused way to treat those things.
Not
for
to mention, it's like, you don't have time to think about other things. If you're focusing on this recipe, or you're stirring this roux and you're trying to make sure that it doesn't burn. Like, you don't have time to think about anything else. And that in itself is therapeutic. Like, you do yoga or a meditation. I mean, that's a form of meditation right there.
Is.
Stirring a roux is a form of meditation.
It's my favorite kind of meditation. And then the smell that comes from it is just some added lagniappe for sure, because there's nothing more therapeutic for me than focusing on something. And listen, I've messed up a roux before. I've had to throw a roux in the trash before. It's something we have to learn, but I absolutely agree. Once you work on that project and you put your heart and soul into it, it can definitely be very healing.
Mandy, it has been a pleasure to have you on tonight. Where can people go to find some of your blog posts?
Sure, yeah, you can go. I have an Instagram account. It's Mandy P. Broussard on Instagram is my name, and I post a lot of my little whereabouts and recipes there. My blog is on WordPress, and it's Everyday Cajun at WordPress. And you can also find me. I'm a Lafayette Moms blog contributor, and so you can find me there too.
All right, that's our show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Join us next week, Sunday at 6 p.m. This is Tiffany Daku on News Talk 96.5 KPEL, and this is the Lafayette Food Junkie Show. Thanks for listening, and as always, happy eating, Acadiana, and Happy New Year.
Sunday nights mean the Lafayette Food Junkie Show. Download the podcast every week on KPEL965.com.
Town Square Media, a place for commerce, connection, networking, engagement, a place for your business. And what sets Town Square Media apart from the rest? People who matter. People who engage with their community, connect with those they serve. People who have a vested interest in the lives of those around them. People who make their small part of the world a better place by supporting your business, live events, news, and entertainment. Town Square Media has listeners who matter. Engaged consumers who are good for business and respond to your message. Town Square Media has options that work. Radio in the car, at home, at work, and online anytime. Digital placement at home and on the go. Fully produced videos that show your potential client what you stand for. And events that draw a crowd, inspire joy, and create a movement that you can own. Town Square Media, a company that cares. Let Town Square Media make a difference for your business. Call 337-233-6000.
Leveraging the power of Fox News Radio to cover the big issues that matter to you. News Talk 96.5 KPEL, Breaux Bridge, Lafayette.